on the eastern flank of the Rocky Mountains, in almost the exact geographical center of Colorado, near the crest of the sky-piercing Continental Divide, is a vast scenic and recreational area.
The Monarch ski area really got started in the late 1930s.
It takes being a little bit crazy to start a ski area, 1939, with the vehicles that were available at that time.
Monarch has a checkered past.
It might have been dirty money, but hey, that's part of our colorful history.
If the Vail Pass name had stuck, the current ski area up here might have been called Vail Ski Mountain instead of Monarch Mountain.
The reason I love it, first of all, the snow. It's just one of the most beautiful scenes in the world.
We get 350 inches of snow a year. We're accused of underreporting snow.
It's not a big one, but it's a wonderful, wonderful ski area.
And highly regarded as one of the 3 or 4 oldest ski areas in Colorado history. That's a lot of history. That's a lot of legacy.
This program was made possible by the History Colorado State Historical Fund,
supporting projects throughout the state to preserve, protect, and interpret Colorado's architectural and archaeological treasures. History Colorado State Historical Fund. Create the future, honor the past.
with additional funding provided in memory of Deanna E. LaCamera and members like you. With special thanks to the Denver Public Library, History Colorado, the Colorado Office of Film, Television, and Media, and to these organizations.
Monarch is a gem. It's got tremendous skiing. It is an independent area. It is a legendary area.
Monarch Mountain, centrally located near Salida, is one of Colorado's first ski resorts. Just like the butterfly it shares a name with, Monarch is small, beautiful, and tenacious, helping to transform skiing in Colorado into a nearly $5 billion industry.
Number one, it's independent. Number two, it's no frills. Number three, it's a great family area.
In an era of the mega ski resort and corporate consolidation, Monarch Mountain remains fiercely independent and one of the most inexpensive ski areas in Colorado.
We're close enough to a population center that we've got a target market that they can come here and ski some of the best snow. I honestly believe that's why Monarch has been so popular. Our location, with our pricing, and the fact that we've got good snow.
Though the metamorphosis of Monarch Mountain has had its share of hardships, it has survived an industry where more than 36 Colorado ski resorts have failed.
There are many ski areas in Colorado that once existed that no longer exist. Pioneer in the Gunnison Country, Conquistador not far from Westcliff, the one that is right outside of Colorado Springs, off Cheyenne Mountain, Geneva Basin.
Monarch's one of the oldest ski areas in the state, and we're proud of that fact. We're proud of the fact that we're able to keep it running because there's so many of the old ski areas that were really doing well for a while and then went by the wayside.
I think Monarch succeeded over time because of the snow and the terrain. We get 350 inches of snow a year. Our day skiers come from Colorado Springs, Pueblo, all the little towns around here, some from Denver as well. But we get lots of folks that come in from Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, New Mexico, families who can come and stay and ski and eat here for 4 days for the price of 1 day at a Vail, at a Breckenridge.
The history of Monarch Mountain is filled with mischief and determination. It's a playful Western spirit that has allowed Monarch to help pioneer skiing in North America and help make Colorado synonymous with the sport.
The Scandinavian miners from Norway, Sweden primarily, and Denmark had learned to ski long before.
Skiing as a sport came about in the 1830s in Norway. Then, Norwegian miners spread the idea of a new sport throughout the world.
So when they came over here, they immediately began to cut down spruce trees, and then they would boil the tips in the camp kettles so they would come up, and they began to teach everybody how to ski. And it wasn't easy. I'd like to see somebody trying skiing on 9 to 14 footers with no real good bindings and a guide pole for balance.
For Colorado mountain towns in the late 1800s, skiing was for work, not fun.
The mail was delivered in the mining camps by guys on skis in the winter. And in 1893, we had what was called the silver panic. And for a lot of complicated reasons, the price of silver fell to 58 cents an ounce. And when that happened, every silver camp in the West in the United States and Colorado closed for good, never returned.
Many mining towns turned to ghost towns. Areas like Salida had the railroad to lean on to remain viable. And although the silver dried up, pure white snow was still plentiful. So people began looking at skiing as recreation. The first formal ski area in Colorado was Howelson Hill in Steamboat Springs, named after a Norwegian skier who started the area.
Carl Howelson was born in 1877 in Norway, and in 1912 he came to Hot Sulphur Springs outside of Steamboat Springs, and he built a jump. And his neighbor one day saw a guy come off the damn thing and go 75 feet down the hill.
Though not much more than a ski jump at first, Howelson Hill caught on, and the man who started it all began to develop skiing into a serious sport.
He is one of the first guys to put baskets on the bottom of poles. He's one of the first guys to put grooves on the bottom of skis, and he's one of the first guys to build a ski jump. And Howelson Hill today is responsible for Steamboat Springs turning out 92 Olympic skiers.
6 of those Olympians are now enshrined in the National Ski Hall of Fame. Howelson and his ski jump reigned in Colorado for more than 15 years. Then, in 1936, a man named J.C. Blickensderfer installed a portable tow line for skiers near Georgetown. It was the birth of Colorado's second continuously operating ski hill, Loveland Ski Area. Today, Loveland offers skiers and riders more than 1,800 acres of terrain and more than 35 feet of snowfall each ski season. Soon after Loveland opened, Colorado's third oldest ski area opened farther south, along the Continental Divide in Chaffee County, Monarch Mountain.
I've been skiing Monarch for 50 years. And the reason I love it, first of all, the snow.
It's good snow, consistent snow, and good terrain.
Monarch Mountain rises above Salida in south-central Colorado. Ski Magazine once likened the shape of the ski area to a baseball glove, sitting between 10 and 12,000 feet, catching 350 inches of snow each year.
It's on the east side of the Continental Divide, the Sawatch Range, which is very unique. The Sawatch Range is a range of 15 mountains, 14,000 feet or better.
It's just one of the most beautiful scenes in the world. I mean, you're right on the top of the Continental Divide, and you can probably see 100, 150 miles in each direction.
In the mid-1930s, a few Salida skiers realized they had a ski lift in their backyard. The Denver and Rio Grande Western Railroad took passengers over nearby Marshall Pass to Gunnison every day.
If you wanted to go from Salida to Gunnison, the only way you got over was taking the train over Marshall Pass.
Passengers paid 75 cents for a round trip on the train. Skiers got off on the summit of Marshall Pass and took one long run all the way down to the bottom. Soon, the Salida Winter Sports Club was formed, and the U.S. Forest Service came calling.
Look at them go! The Forest Service told the Salida Ski Club that they would like them to move off of Marshall Pass, and they'd like them to move to Monarch Pass. And the WPA caught wind of that and said, hey, we can build you a ski course. That's what they called it back then.
The 1939 WPA effort, or Works Progress Administration, promised plenty of jobs in the midst of the Great Depression. And on March 23, 1939, President Franklin D. Roosevelt authorized $26,406 to build the so-called ski course. The city of Salida would own Monarch, and the Salida Winter Sports Club would operate the new venture. Monarch Mountain's plentiful snow was ideal for skiing, but not so for motorists back in 1939.
Now, there was a big controversy over what pass should be used for automobiles. Should you use Monarch Pass at 11,312 feet, or should you use the adjacent railroad pass of Marshall Pass, 10,856 feet, 500 feet lower? And a lot of locals thought that you probably should use Marshall Pass. But the head of the Colorado Highway Commission was an arrogant guy by the name of Charlie Vail. And Charlie Vail decided that he would use Monarch Pass. But Charlie Vail, being as arrogant as he was, named it after himself. And for a short time, on top of the pass, there was a sign that said Vail Pass. But the locals were so angry at this that they kept throwing that sign into a ditch.
Once the Vail Pass sign got put up, the people were naturally upset. The name Monarch had already stuck.
But Charlie Vail got even. When they put Vail Pass in from Copper Mountain out towards Avon, Charlie Vail got that pass named after him, and today at over 10,600 feet, Vail Pass is named for Charlie Vail.
But the name Vail would have to wait another 20 years to adorn a Colorado ski area. Monarch Mountain was about to cut its first run just in time for the 1939-1940 ski season.
When we first started, it was just gun barrel.
It's a legend among old ski areas. To ski the gun barrel, that's legendary.
Gun Barrel, or Bloody Ridge as some people called it, was a hand-cut run with a 30-degree slope. Imagine tackling that with skis of old.
You had bear trap bindings. You had really long skis, and there was no safety strap. You were just tied onto your skis, so if you fell, it was a real ankle breaker.
Off Gun Barrel, they just ran a tow rope that was powered by an old truck engine.
In 1939, a season pass only cost $1 to ski the one-run Monarch Mountain.
You bring your own food in. The people in the cafeteria bring their own food in. There are no laboratories. You want to go to the bathroom, you got to go out into the trees.
Well, the first warming house was a log building. The mayor of Salida's name was Furno, so they named it the Inferno. And ironically enough, it burned down in 1963.
As modest as it was, Monarch Mountain made money that first season, a total of $28.74. Eventually, a luxurious 3-seat outhouse was added. More expansion was planned, but then the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor.
The United States of America was suddenly and deliberately attacked by naval and air forces of the Empire of Japan.
During World War II, if 75 skiers showed up, it was a banner day. The facilities were quickly falling into disrepair, and the city of Salida wanted out. so they sold it for the princely sum of $100.
The reason that Ray Berry bought the area for $100 from Salida was in a damn fast hurry to get rid of it. It was a white elephant.
The Berries came in and said, we can do this if you could make sure that it isn't too expensive to get into in the first place.
Ray Berry owned an auto repair shop in Salida, a perfect match to keep that Chevy truck engine pulling skiers up Monarch Mountain's tow rope. In the mid-1950s, people skied Monarch for just 75 cents a day. Profits for Ray Berry were slim, but ingenuity was plentiful.
You had to use the old coconut and get things done. You really had to find out what was needed and then do it yourself because we didn't have experience to draw from. One of the things I did there that I got a kick out of, the snow hanging around off the edge of the building was pretty heavy, and if one of them fell, it could be, fairly dangerous, and the kids liked to play in that snow. Now, I had a .45 automatic pistol. I just happened to have it. So I went out there and I laid back and I blasted away at those little things hanging down there, and zoom, they all fell. Many times you do what's needed. You get it done if you have to use unorthodox methods.
The Berry family were very ingenious about finding very inexpensive labor.
It was just really grassroots. It was a family all coming together and everybody working hard and making it happen.
In the 50s and 60s, Monarch Mountain was learning the ski business by trial and error, as was the U.S. Forest Service.
When the Forest Service took a look at this lift, about 25 feet off the ground in the fall of 1939, they said, you got to lower that chair. People fall out of it, they're going to get killed. And then about 15 to 20 feet of snow fell. People who were in the chair had their knees under their chin and they were getting flipped out of the chair because there was so much snow. And the Forest Service then had to say, you guys got to raise that chair or you're going to get people hurt.
In those early days, there was only the lift.
When we first started skiing, it was the number 1, and then they built the number 2. And then they named them, and we never knew which was which.
But Monarch regulars knew they had found their ski home.
Perfect examples when we'd leave the kids in the lodge there with their coloring books and be perfectly comfortable. Didn't worry about them at all. They were there, and if something happened, somebody'd take care of them.
The 50s and 60s were filled with challenges and one bold dare that Monarch skiers still talk about today, the legend of Fearless Freddy.
I always wanted to be like a downhill racer, a GS racer. I was never a bump skier, and so consequently, I'd rather make 3 turns than 6. Jack Watkins, the manager here for so many years, said, well, if you're such a good skier, why don't you shoot the gun barrel? Which meant go straight down it. And being young, I said, you announce it, I'll do it. And when I came out of the trees up there, there must have been 300 people standing on that deck. And when I came out of the trees, I could hear the hurrah! And it's like, uh-oh, now what are you gonna do? I turned him straight down, and Jack Watkins said it took about 11 seconds.
When he did that, I was on the deck and we could not believe that anybody was going to do that because he went straight down. Nobody had done it before and it was crazy.
In 1967, Monarch Mountain was sold to Elmo Bevington for $132,000.
Well, Elmo Bevington hailed from Omaha, Nebraska. He was the Schlitz distributor for Council Bluffs and Omaha. So being an Omaha guy, he dressed in red.
Elmo was a good time. Elmo did things like you wouldn't believe. Elmo was total in the ski party spirit. The ski school used to throw toga parties, and there was 2 rules at every toga party. And the 2 rules were no underwear, no cameras.
Entrepreneurial and quirky is probably a kind way to describe Elmo, but he advanced the ski area by putting in additional lifts, by building Monarch Lodge.
By the time Jerry Rogers bought Monarch Mountain in 1979, the price tag was reportedly $2.5 million. The JR years were a time of big fun and big spending.
One of the things the Rogers did was they spent money on advertising. The Rogers era was really good for the ski area, and it was good for the ski area because there was a cash flow and we had money to do things that were just a dream before that.
There's only one way to describe Monarch. Yahoo!
We had 65-foot billboards on I-70 and I-25 and Academy Boulevard and Pueblo Boulevard, touting the qualities that Monarch had.
The butterfly appeared during the Rogers era, and everyone's like, oh, that looks like the bat signal,
The Rogers era brought new lifts, new runs, an expanded parking lot, and a lot more skiers. But there was one problem.
He was a tax scammer, and so there's quite a few stories that could be told about him. I'm not sure if that's good for family television or not.
Jerry put a lot of money into the place. It might have been dirty money, but hey, that's part of our colorful history. Frankly, they had some money to hide from the IRS. So they stuck it in here. It was a colorful time. It was interesting. He would have kept going except he got caught. He wasn't able to go any further.
It was a crazy time. We were embroiled in an enormous legal battles from all sides, federal, state, and yet, if you look at the numbers of the ski area, we flourished.
He ended up dying in prison, and I believe it was December of 2014, because I remember going up and skiing JR's run in his memory, because JR's run is after Jerry Rogers. We're not proud of what he did, but he's part of our history, and we got to keep that name.
During the late 1980s and early 90s, Monarch was sold several times to rather absentee investors. The magic returned in 2002 when a group of skiers formed Powder Monarch LLC.
We're the longest tenured owners in the history of Monarch, and we're a group of 16. There's 4 of us that own about 75% of the ski area.
And they want to make this place the best polished gem in Colorado.
Part of the mission today is sticking to Monarch's roots as a family-friendly, inexpensive, and independent ski experience at a true local mountain.
It is a community-oriented area because you get a lot of people from Buena Vista, you get a lot of people from Salida, Colorado Springs, Cotopaxi, Gunnison,
Pueblo, Canyon City, all those little towns in the Arkansas River Valley.
Small town values, big snow, and even bigger plans for the future.
There's a lot of talk about dropping off the backside of the Continental Divide. As best as I can tell, that would make us the only ski area in the United States that would traverse both sides of the Continental Divide.
The 2019-2020 year will be the 80th anniversary of Monarch. Now, if you take a look at the ski areas in Colorado history, you are talking about very few ski areas that have an 80th birthday.
80 years may not seem like a long time. The ski industry is a very, very young industry. You have to understand that really skiing did not become popular in the United States in many instances until after World War II.
Though the ski industry today is dominated by mega resorts, independently owned Monarch Mountain still thrives.
I really feel like the legacy of this ski area is that it's affordable and it's friendly, and lots of people have learned to ski here, and lots of people continue to ski here because they like what's here.
I'd say the legacy of Monarch Mountain is its charm. It's the best snow I've found in Colorado, and trust me, I've looked around, and that's what keeps bringing me back is the quality of the snow and the quality of the people.
Like the butterfly it shares a name with, skiers migrate here because of the people, the prices, and perhaps most of all, the abundance of fluffy, natural snow.
We get 350 inches of snow. We don't make snow, and so our snow is precious, our snow is great. When people ski man-made snow versus natural snow, they can tell the difference.
And Monarch is one of the most beautiful places in the world. You see 14,000-foot mountains, you got the pure white snow, you got the sunshine, and you can't beat it.
This has just been a great place to spend the last 6 decades. It's been terrific. I think Monarch has a great future.
Monarch Mountain has survived the Great Depression, a world war, and vast changes in the ski industry. Thanks to small-town grit and a host of dedicated and rather colorful owners.
It is what the Bird family dreamed it would be someday. It's here